This program is brought to you by the partners of A Rood Awakening International. Help others find truth. Support A Rood Awakening International today.
America's open border policy has allowed selected disruptors from all over the world to infiltrate our country with the express intent of unraveling our culture to pave the way for one world government. Former political jihadist Kamal Saleem exposes the deeper spiritual implications. Because it's the end of the sixth day, the sun is set, and this is Shabbat Night Live. Hey, Shabbat Shalom to our fans. It is Shabbat Night Live with Michael Rood. Look, there's no arguing the facts. Our border in the last few years was a disaster. Look, I'm an immigrant, I can say that, okay? We have potentially millions of people in this country who are not vetted in any way. They have come from countries that are sworn enemies of the United States, but the fact remains that most of them are still here. So now what? We brought in a former political jihadist to tell us, because he would know better than anyone else. Kamal Saleem is up next for episode 1 of a 5-episode series, Asylum Assassins. Look, you need to pay attention to this series. Let's talk about it with Matt Weimer and Michael Rood. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Todd.
So, yes, we've all seen what's happened with the border in the last few years. People just streaming across with seemingly no, border guards told to stand down, let them go.
Yeah.
And we're all scratching our heads here going, why?
Yeah, that all ended yesterday.
Yes, it seemed like yesterday, didn't it? Yes, when this all changed? Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So we all know what that means. But anyway, yeah, but the fact remains, even though there's someone new in the White House, these guys are still here.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while to get them out. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, they're hiding, I'm sure. And like some of them, when the presidency first changed, some people were actually leaving voluntarily because they knew what was coming, but not all of them. So we need to know, why are they here? What are they doing here? Kamal Saleem has a very interesting perspective on this because he was a political jihadist. He was born in Lebanon. He was trained as a child to smuggle weapons from the enemy countries into Israel, to places like for Hamas and other folks like this. And then when he became older, his job was to come into the US, not with guns and bombs or anything like that, but to change the culture of America, to specifically seed those thoughts of Islam, to bring, and he says, this is not a new thing. This has been happening since the 60s.
Wow.
So right under our noses. And so he knows better than anybody who is coming across the border here, where the money is coming from. That is coming in an episode that will blow your mind and rock your world. And hopefully that is all going to change now. But still, the fact remains these guys are still here. What do we do about it? How can we navigate this whole territory? So that's what we're talking about tonight with Kamal Saleem, episode 1. 5 episodes this took him.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is really good. Yeah. And Kamal and Michael, you helped me get here. I mean, I've done visas, green card, finally citizenship. A lot of it was thanks to you and A Rood Awakening being the sponsor for such thing. So I want to thank you, first of all, for doing that.
Well, it's good to have you out of Canada.
Yeah, it's good to be out of Canada. No disrespect to my Canadian friends, but I think you'd all wish you were the 51st state, a lot of them, But anyway, I talked to a friend yesterday who said, yes, please make us the 51st state. So anyway, but it took a process, and it was a legal process, and it took time. It took exacting things. It took
money.
It took money. It did. It took money. It took an attorney. Yeah, it took a lot of money. It did.
A lot of it.
Yeah. All right, already. and we had an attorney who made sure we got everything right, because you got one little thing on a form, that was it. You had to start all over again, and all that money was wasted. Well, what's with all this just letting people in then?
Right.
Right. So there's obviously some, and what the biggest thing I think Kamal is going to reveal tonight, I'm going to just steal the thunder a little bit, is that these people are selected to come here. Just as you might have suspected, he confirms. These are not just random people in the crowd. These are people selected to be seeded into the crowd and come across our border.
Explains a lot.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. So that is tonight's teaching with Kamal Saleem. Speaking of teachings, there's only a couple of weeks, not even a couple of weeks, there's like a few days to get it. 10 days left, not even about 8 days, right? This is a short month. So make sure you get this before it goes away. Geography in Prophecy from Matt Weimer. This is one of 2 love gifts he's teaching. This is the first one. Make sure you get it because the second one builds on this. You need this one first, okay? So that is this month's love gift. We will let the commercial do the talking about the other lovely things we want to give you just for saying thank you. Alrighty, America's open border policy has allowed selected disruptors from all over the world to infiltrate our country. Former political jihadist Kamal Saleem exposes the deeper spiritual implications. But first, it's time for the blessing over the bread and the wine. Here's Michael Rood.
When Yeshua fed the 5,000 with leavened barley loaves in the Galilee, the Pharisees came down on him because they accused him that he and his disciples did not wash their hands before they ate bread. They did not wash their hands with a negelvesser and say this prayer, "Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who sanctified us by your commandments, commanding us concerning the washing of hands." Why didn't Yeshua do that? Why didn't his disciples follow that? Because it is takanot. It is a law which they invented, and Moses said no one is ever allowed to add to or subtract from. But the night of the Last Supper, Yeshua took bread and he put in place a rehearsal that was really put in place by the Kohen Gadol, the high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek himself brought forth bread and wine to Abraham. And Yeshua interpreted that very thing. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem mi'haaretz. This is what Yeshua put in place, that before we eat bread, that we say this prayer. And as often as we do this, we do it in remembrance of him, because his broken body was broken for us, and by his stripes we were healed. So as often as we do this, as often we do it in remembrance of him. And Yeshua took the cup and he said, Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen. The creator of the fruit of the vine, Yehovah, created the fruit of the vine. He said, this represents the renewed covenant in my blood. As often as you do this, remember me. And remember, I will be drinking this with you at the marriage supper of the Lamb. Shabbat Shalom.
You know, sometimes on this program, I sit here and we have guests and I don't feel qualified because they know so much more than I do. And so I ask questions that I think you're going to ask. Well, today I feel uniquely qualified for today because it's all about immigration. I'm an immigrant. I came from Canada 16 years ago plus, and I went through all the proper channels. I did my visas, I did my green card, finally became a citizen. And any little thing I got wrong on one little form, it would be sent back, thousands of dollars wasted, and I would have to do it over again. It had to be absolutely perfect. Well, today, you might be dismayed as I am to see people just streaming across our border. What is going on here? Why are they allowed to be into our country? Nothing being vetted. And what is really going on here? What is really the purpose? And we have somebody here who is uniquely qualified to teach us about this. Please welcome Kamal Saleem. Welcome, Kamal.
Well, thank you for having me. God bless you, and thank you for taking time to be with me and allow me to be with you.
Now, you are also an immigrant. We are both immigrants up here, so we are uniquely qualified to be talking about this.
That's very true, but we have something unique as well, too. Both of us are citizens of heaven, which is the higher authority to make this nation great again.
Amen, amen. So tell me about this. Where, you came from, you were from the Middle East.
Yes.
And you came here, and now you have had some experiences we're all going to get into in this series. And so you see this from a different perspective and with more information than most people have about what's really going on here.
Yes, yes. So we need to understand, number one, when we talked about, in the subject matter, because I'm a former Muslim, that not all Muslims are radicals. not every Muslim go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go ahead and ride a car and run over people and kill so many. There's a lot of, Muslims, they are peaceful and they want to live a good life, but they are the radicals. Statistically, the radicals about 3 to 4%, and they lead the majority of the Muslim people because Muslims are so afraid of the radical. For a perfect example will be like Hamas, or like Hamas control Gaza, and there are several million of Palestinians over there, but the small minority, less than 1%, control the majority. And we look at Hezbollah, for example, in south of Lebanon, or we look at the Houthi, and we see different groups that they control the nation. So that's very important to understand. I came to this nation specifically with a target in my mind and my heart to change this nation from within. So I was not the soldier who carry a machine gun to shoot people on the street, but I wear a suit to change the culture from within. And these are the things that we need to understand. When people are coming to our nations, are they a political jihadi or they are a machine gunner jihadi? And the difference between the two, both of them agree on what they want to do ultimately, but each one has different methodologies. So when an attack takes place, like what took place in New Orleans or in Las Vegas, with the attacks with the cars, what happened is the political one will condemn the other one, says that's not us. These are bad people. We are not like this. So therefore, they justify their platform. And now it confuses the people in the ideology. So we need to understand the purpose of each person, what they're doing here. And that's, and why did they come to the United States of America?
So this is, as I think most of us with a brain in our heads realize now, that these are not just a bunch of folks from Guatemala or Mexico coming to have a better life. Sure, there may be some people in that mix, but there's a lot of these other folks in that group, aren't there?
When I was younger, when I was a young man, I was trained under Yasser Arafat in a group called Prophetic, later on became PLO. But part of my Islamic teaching, and Islamic training, I was working under Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi, I called him a father because I sat on his table, and I called him father. I called him, in Arabic, and he let me sit with his wives and his children. And Muammar Gaddafi used me specifically to train a certain kind of group, like the Irish, radicals, or like the Sandinesian out of South America. Why are we training these people? We are trying to create people in our image instead of the image of God, which is to train them into radicalism. At the end of the day, we will help each other against our enemy, me and my family, member or whatever, against our enemy. So we trained the Sandinesians specifically for 0 hour for the United States of America to enter the United States and cause afflictions all over the place. Same how we trained the Irish and trained other groups throughout the world. So when you say immigrant to me, it means something different. Illegal immigrant, it means something different to me because I'm going, where is he from? And why did he come here? And what is his purpose?
And this is not a new thing that we're just seeing on the news in the last few years. This was going on when you were little.
The infiltration of the United States of America started in 1960, with Islamism. America woke up on 9/11. And this is for the first time came to understand what Islamism is and what radical Islam is and this and that and the other. But this has been happening from our childhood, even before we were born, because it was something reoccurring for such time as this. But the ultimate thing is to really infiltrate the United States of America. Why do we need to infiltrate the United States of America? America is the crown jewel for Islamist, meaning for a radical Muslim, because it's the great Satan. You know, when Muslims go to pilgrimage, they stone the great Satan and the small Satan, two Satans. You know, and so that's what they do during pilgrimage. And in our life, America was the great Satan, and Israel was the smaller one. So, but we know we could not destroy Israel without destroying America first. Because America is the big brother, you know, that is protecting Israel. And here's the thing: did God create America specifically for a purpose, such purpose like this? I would say yes. And you go like, Kamal, if that's the truth, where did God say it? God said it in the Bible. America was uniquely birthed, just like Israel. America was not birthed nation like any other nation. You know, God chose people to, you know, the Jewish people, the sons of Abraham, to create, you know, Israel. God chose people from all over the world to come to the United States of America and create a nation called the USA, the great USA. But as we look at the Bible, in the first time that we see America has been mentioned, it's in the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel, say, where is it in the book of Daniel? I'll say July 4th. In the book of Daniel, July 4th. So what is that supposed to mean? It's 7 and 4. You know, Daniel 7:4. This is where the beast, the four beasts that they controlled the world, came out of the nations, out of the water, and they're representing themselves before God. And the first beast was the lion. The lion is the symbol of the great United Kingdom. And so, but at the time, you know, when the lion came in, he had two great wings. So the two great wings, God extracted the two wings and he gave them to a man. The man was dead, laying down on the ground. He had no life, no purpose, no hope, no calling, and he gave them to the man, and the man stood on his feet, and the word said he became a sovereign nation. That is the birth of the United States of America. So you go like, if God did this, so what is God's purpose in creating this? So we do not understand that until we come to Revelation 12. Revelation 12 said, and there's a woman, her name is called Israel. And God gave Israel the great wing of an eagle to protect her. And he carried her into the wilderness for time, 2 times and a half time, meaning 3.5 years. And so he said, and so the protection, so American destiny was specifically and uniquely to be a forerunner for Israel.
Okay, and this is all, if we look into Daniel and we see...
And the book of Revelation.
In the book of Revelation, we can just see
the birth and the future, you know, the fruition. You know, so we look at both sides and we go like, wow, isn't God so smart? You know, so, you know, we have to understand the timing of the Lord. And we have to understand the seasons of the Lord. God does not work, you know, like in a year to say, in 2025, God is going to do this. And you hear a lot of prophets saying this. We need to understand God works in season. There is the season of Gentiles, season of man, the season of Jesus Christ. These are seasons. And in the book of Ecclesiastic, Brother Scott, and this is one of my favorite translation, it is in the New English translation said, for everything there is an appointed time and appropriate time for every activity on earth. So there is, if we break it down, we come to see there are 2 times in here. The first time, and God speak about that in the book of Genesis, when he, you know, he created the day, the time, the years, the sun, the this, the that, and he did all this before he created Adam. And then he invited Adam, he said, welcome home. And then what happened is, and that time for the season, the life and everything, that's called the chronos. What is the chronos? Is our time of our humanity. You know, so we are moving into that ocean of humanity, and the only thing causes us to be different is when we have an encounter with God. And in that, God spoke about it in the book of Exodus and other places, that he said, I'm doing something in that season that you have not perceived yet. And so that time he referred to it as moad. That's the Hebraic word. It's called moad, which is the appointed time. In the Greek, it's called the kairos. What is the kairos? Is the time that God held in heaven to appear with it and insert that time into man's time, and God chooses his appointed specifically to reveal this. We are revelators, just like John has revelation with Jesus Christ, which is he saw the revelation of Jesus. We are to reveal to the nation because in that Great Commission.
Names of cities and countries have changed since biblical times, but end-time prophecy mentions certain places on the map. So how can we know where these ancient places are today?
In especially Ezekiel 38 and 39, specifically, Ezekiel names 8 different nations. And those nations, when you look them up in Bible atlases, the real scholarly ones, you'll find that 5 of those 8 belong to modern-day Turkey.
A Rood Awakening International's in-house prophecy expert, Matthew Weimer, explains the often missed intricacies of prophetically significant places in this month's Love Gift teaching, Geography and Prophecy. This teaching is not for sale, and it's not available anywhere online. Instead, we'd like to give you this teaching as a thank you gift for donating to A Rood Awakening International. When you donate $50 as a love gift in February, you'll get Geography and Prophecy with Matthew Weimer on DVD, Blu-ray, or streaming on the michaelrood.tv app. Donate $100 and you'll get Geography and Prophecy, plus a pair of designer soaps handmade in Israel by new residents of biblical Judea and Samaria. Donate $300 and you'll get Geography and Prophecy, the pair of designer soaps handmade in Israel, and a beautiful prayer shawl to help you set apart your prayer time with focus and devotion. These gifts are a limited time offer from Michael Rood to thank you for your support. Make your donation today and receive the $50 gift, the $100 gift, or the $300 gift. Thank you. When you donate to receive the love gift, you ensure that these teachings keep coming from A Rood Awakening International. Use your smartphone to scan the QR code on your screen to donate now and receive these limited time gifts. Or call 888-766-3610. Or get your gifts online with a donation at monthlylovegift.com.
As we look at this, we see that God's promises are twofold, always twofold. And it's always involved man and it's always involves God. And so it always has a season and a moad, a kairos time, a time of God, and circumstances that God created specifically to participate, that God will participate with man. And that's why God used humanity specifically to declare the glory of the Lord in the land of the living.
So before the cameras came on, you were showing me, I loved how you did that, just drawing pictures with your hands. This is the Chronos time, man, and then God comes in and inserts himself at certain times. So
Yes.
is that why the immigration issue with America is happening at this time?
Well, so here what we need to know is if immigration is happening, we need to know, number one, when we say illegal immigration, it does not have a right name, illegal immigrations. So if it's something illegal, it's anti-constitution and it's anti-word of God. It's illegal. So, so God works against all this. So why are we allowing illegal to move into our legality? So we see that Satan came specifically to steal the inheritance of men and the purpose of men to insert his glory and impose, to take it away from them so he can keep them subject to himself. So when we see illegal immigration, we say, who is the body, the governing body that is behind it? Who created that? So let's go through this. The U.S. immigration was an infiltration. It was not immigration. It was a subjugation. And it happened specifically and uniquely to change the United States of American culture. Because so in America, we have, we have an abortion, and they want, limit the birth rights and what so have you, and yet they brought 21 million illegal. It doesn't make sense. You go, why they are bringing 21 million illegal while you're trying to kill babies? So they are trying to replace the society with something in their image that is not perfect, but it's perverted and based on something that is broken. So to bring a woke identity, about people, poor these people, they have nobody to take care of them and nobody loves them. And look what America is doing to them. So we go to jail for harming them, and that becomes, an act of terrorism. What we say, or if we speak about our rights, and so we were going toward this, and that's called Agenda 3030, which is 2030. So this is it's a one world system, one world order, is trying to impose about a new humanity upon the United States of America, just so they can change the culture from within and change the nations. And so by doing so, America will lose its unipower. Unipower is America will not be sovereign anymore to rule and reign and police the nations. And if we look at the Word of God, how God created America, America was created specifically to do what God called America to do. For example, we see that, under President Biden, we see that how America fell down, and the American people were losing their home, they're losing their culture, they're losing their identity, and the immigrant were having, they're being paid by tax dollars. They have hotels, they have cars, they have places to go, free college, free food, free everything, and we are going to give you a citizenship that is you have not worked for, but we are going to do it for you. And then we have a president that he was re-elected, and he was uniquely re-elected. They don't want this man because he is changing the one world order strategy, and he is taking back America to its glorious days. So by doing so, people saw this, and they start coming from all nations, surrendering, like, we want this with you as well, because we were enslaved by that culture, imposed upon us, one after the other. We saw the social media, one after the other, coming to him, saying, we were told to do this, and now he is moving forward, and the world does not like him. So why we're talking about this is because he's coming to rechange everything and then move all those nations that they came to the United States of America to infiltrate our culture in illegal immigration.
So this is not just people on their own volition, just coming to America and hoping for a better life. There's an engine behind this, helping these people get here and maybe even selecting them to come here. Is that more the story?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we need to understand this. Number one, a lot of these people live on $2 and $3 a month. That's their income. How did they travel all the way from Tajikistan, from Turkmenistan, from Azerbaijan, from whatever they are in the world, in the Congo, to come to the United States of America, flying in or flying to Mexico? So number one, always, always, always follow the money. Who is funding these people to come here? And are all these people coming here for the same reason? So when you bring over 200 to 500,000 Chinese national, all of them young men in military age, and Middle Eastern men, young age, and a lot of them came not through the southern border, they came through the Canadian border, and they came through airports. They were flown into our nation, and they were scattered throughout our nation. Why did they do this, and who is funding this, and where are they living? And what purpose are they, they're living for? So we see here, there's an organization called the International Organization for Migration, IOM. Who is the IOM? The birth of the IOM came under specifically the United Nations, out of the United Nations. And these people came specifically to establish, world-shifting people around the world, and that was part of the One World agenda. We saw when Hillary Clinton was running for president, she invited the UN to United States of America, and now she was building camps into United States of America. They call them the Agenda 2020. When she became president, so she will reshape the American culture and teach the American to be American in her image. And so therefore, they were bringing military from the UN from all over the world. And then we see that under Biden, and I keep saying Biden, not Biden, because the agenda, it is Obama's agenda, and it's unique agenda, and it's playing uniquely to change the culture from within. And when you look at Obama and who is behind Obama, you go like, there's some greater power that's empowering him. And if that's so, and if that's a fact, then how did the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Secret Service have allowed him to do this? So we know that there is a greater power behind him that is shaping America, and now they hid all his date of birth and everything, his college, what he studied, his banking, his citizenship, everything that he did is hidden. You could not find it. Why? Because he was part of that thing to shape America, and now it's part of the system that is trying to change America, like the CIA, like the FBI, like the NSA, and that's why we are seeing President Trump is changing the czars of who sits on that culture mountains, meaning who will control and lead, So he's looking for loyalty to change things, because in his previous 4 years, he was not able to do it because the swamp was deeper, darker, stronger, that he could not shake it out of place. But now he is. So now when we look at all this, we see that the United Nations was being brought to the United States of America to be part of reshaping of America. So when we see 500,000 Chinese enter America, will they become part of the UN military to knock on people's doors? When the UN becomes in there, because here's the thing. If America has to break the Constitution and knock on people's doors, they have to give an authority to somebody. So if they give citizenship and militarize certain group of people, these young men, these are not, their heart is not for you and me. They will be able to do the things that we, regular soldier would not do to his own nation. So they were uniquely brought here for a purpose. So we need to go deeper and go like, if that's so, then who is the group and how does it work? And so we find, number one, is we found a lady, her name is Amy Pope. Amy Pope, she is the Director General of the International Organization for Migration, the IOM. And we found out, that she took it on 1st October of 2023. She is the first woman ever to lead the IOM in 73 years. Before that, it was all men. That was the first woman. So who has the power to speak into the UN? Because America funds UN more than any other nation. We host them here in the United States of America and what so have you. So, and as we dig into her her resume, we find, in the 5 years that she served under that position, she organized new strategic path designed specifically to ensure the IOM can have a respond increasingly to change the migration landscape. She had new understanding, new ideas, new ways that we have not seen before. And before the IOM, before she served at the IOM, she served as a senior advisor on migration to the US President Biden. And she was anointed to lead the IOM by President Biden and by Obama. And we also, how do we know this? Let's go further. And we see that she served as a deputy of Homeland Security advisor under President Obama. So she was trained and pruned and brought up always specifically to come to that chair, and so we hear about the Antichrist. Will the Antichrist appear one day and say, I am the Antichrist? Or will he be brought part of humanity and society and everything else that they will say, everybody will look at him and say, oh, but he is part of our life, part of our society, part of this, and not just that, but he's doing miracles. Isn't that what Jesus did? He came, and then introduced, and then didn't he do miracles? So they are just trying to normalize it. That's part of our culture.
I'll bet you did not know that being an Ambassador Club member gets you exclusive early access to tickets to in-person events right here at A Rood Awakening headquarters. And I'll bet you didn't know that Ambassador Club members also get private invitations to surprise sales and other appreciation events, not to mention special gifts, cards, and other nice stuff. So why do ambassadors get all these perks? Because Ambassador Club members are the ones who keep the lights on, who make sure that new teachings keep coming, and they're the ones we can count on because they're committed every month. The Ambassador Club is an automated donation program of $100 a month or more if you'd like. So if you appreciate the consistency of A Rood Awakening videos, social media posts, events, and most importantly, people to pray with you on the phone and help answer your questions, be a part of the consistency that makes it happen. Join the Ambassador Club. Maybe you'll get to this, but I have a question right now, and I'm sure some of our viewership is watching this thinking, why would two presidents work with another organization outside of our own country to destroy the very country that they are a president of? What's in it for them?
Well, we know that President Obama is the one who introduced woke, and he introduced many other things, changing the sphere of our curriculums throughout colleges and throughout even kindergarten, and about bringing and he championed the homosexuality ideology, and he started dividing the culture from within on purpose. America could not be destroyed from outside. So if they come against the United States as a military to fight America, he will lose. America can be destroyed from within.
So is there an incentive being given from the outside to these men to do this? So why would they do this to their own country?
Absolutely, because what happened is when one is trained specifically and brought up for that purpose, and then he recruit the other, or he recruit the Clintonites, or he recruits the Bidens, and what so have you, and now their agenda, because he's running all over and is speaking on their behalf, so therefore we see that they are selling their life for the great purpose, because if you don't make your peace with the one world order agenda, what happened is you become an enemy of that thing. And we see a lot of the elitists in America belong to that organization, from George W. Bush Sr., he was the first one to declare that the New World Order just begun.
I remember that speech.
Yeah, I watched him when he said this, and I was watching him on TV. I was in different nation, and I'm going like, wow, he's declaring, our coming, to become part of that one world order.
And I didn't even understand what that meant at the time. It went right over my head. didn't matter at that point.
That's exactly right. And so when you see the introduction of COVID, when you see the epidemics, all that's, this is all to shake the nation to introduce the other things, so or affect, election and what so have you. So they need the icons in the right place to affect these shifts. And that's why I call it, we are in a great time, and that's unique time to the church, and it's called the Great Reset. God stepped into his moad, into his kairos, into our humanity to say, time out. I'm here and I'm putting a guy to deal with you that his head is worse than a flintstone, that he, everybody else's will crash upon it and I'm going to protect him. He was, 2 times to be killed, and he was saved, and miraculously, you go like, how's that possible? And how come the FBI, the Secret Service, or the NSA, or the CIA, how come nobody found that? So it's an agenda, and he's stepping in the way that they're coming, but they did not know that America chose a man after their own heart. I'm not saying this, if I'm saying this before he was elected, you think that I'm being paid to bring his name up, but no, I'm seeing what God is doing, and I'm championing with God, because our call is to reveal. We are the revelators of God, to reveal the things that they have not revealed, and that's the Great Commission. So, but we have to start with our, Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria. So this is our home, and then we'll go all over the world. So we need to put our home in order. And so I'm saying all this to say that this one is a development that was man-made specifically to create this great shift. And the great shift is different than the great reset. A shift is a man shift. A reset is God stepping in time, says, I watch my word over my word to perform it.
It's interesting to use that term, the Great Reset, because you and I both know that, Klaus Schwab and others have said, we're going to introduce a Great Reset. But you're saying, no, that's what man is saying, directed by God. But God is coming in and saying, I will direct a Great Reset.
And the shift is like you're sitting in a chair. If you keep shifting a little bit at time, later on you may be sitting by the wall because you created a shift. And so by design, I'm turning my way to look at you to see where you're at. Little by little, you shift my understanding, and now I see you over there, you're no longer here. So you're above me and not, equal. And a reset is to say, no, we have a constitution, we have laws, we have bylaws, and we have life. And all this is happening here, this is anti-America. So let's put things in perspective. And so bringing back things to where they're supposed to be, and that's what the enemy fears the most. Because COVID fell, and everybody knew it was an agenda, and all these things has been falling, including the war with Russia and Ukraine. So you go like, why this war? Let me go further before I talk about this.
Please.
This is very important. So now we see Amy Pope is in charge of this, and now the generals that she chose, she chose Yuguchi Daniel, who is deputy director for the operation. And this woman worked with the UNRWA. The UNRWA, it is an agency to serve and empower the Palestinians. Who are the Philistines? These Philistines are, which is the PLO, Fatah, Hamas, all of it. So it's to direct billions of dollars in that perspective. And now they champion the Palestinian over Israel. So that's what the UNRWA, we call it Anwar. So she is a president and coordinator, security of Islamic Republic, of Iran. She worked under the Iranian regime before she was selected. She worked in so many places for the United Nations headquarters for 70 countries. She was shifting and working, controlling 70 countries, and she is the monitor and of the evolution of all this to come about. And then we come and we see the Deputy Director General for Management and Reform, the interim, Irene Celerano, she is Russian. She worked under Putin. And she is put in that place as well. And she worked with East Europe. So why is the war taking place in the Ukraine?
That's a good question. Let's leave that for next week.
Okay.
That's great. Let's leave them with that. This is a great series. Thank you so much for bringing this to us, Kamal. You have a lot more to share, so we're going to have you for the next few weeks. So we'll come back next week, talk about what's really going on with Ukraine. What does it have to do with immigration? All this type of thing.
Excellent.
All right, great. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching Shabbat Night Live. Your support makes this happen. Thank you for donating to this ministry. That's how we can bring Kamal here. He's at a hotel. He had to fly here. So there are expenses. So thank you for taking care of those so that others can see this, so that you can see this. Very, very important. So thank you very much for doing it. If you'd like to donate on a regular basis, we have the Ambassador Club. There's the information on the bottom of your screen. And we don't like to bring this up on Shabbat or any time really, but we have to. You know, this costs funds to do this kind of thing. So we want to just thank you for supporting this program and making this happen so that we can bring Kamal here and teach everyone all this important stuff. So thank you again. And until next week, Shabbat Shalom.
Whenever and wherever you are watching this broadcast, it represents hundreds of man-hours of production and post-production, and then it goes out to the world in several different languages. Why is this possible? It's because people like you support this ministry. We do our best to get this out freely to the entire world. Freely you have received. Now, this is your opportunity to do as Yeshua said, and freely give.